weekend sees us arrive in Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. First up is today's practice session. This is a popular location for many of the teams. The circuit is extremely demanding for both the drivers and the cars, and that makes it a very exciting place to race.
It's certainly a track that's liked by the drivers, providing a good set of challenges when racing. It has two long straights that allow for great overtaking opportunities and a very complex 360-degree right-hand corner combination just after the start-finish line. It's a circuit that really has a bit of everything.
Hello everyone and welcome to F1 2015 Championship mode here in China. At the end of practice session you can see that we set the 6th fastest time on the primes just behind Nico Rosberg, going right into quali.
Welcome to qualifying here at the Shanghai International Circuit in China. This 5.45 kilometer track is going to provide us with some thrilling twists and turns within the next hour. One of the big changes on this year's grid is Fernando Alonso, who's left Ferrari and is now back with McLaren.
Many people would never have thought Fernando would go back to McLaren after the volatile year he spent there in 2007. But back he is, and he'll be wanting to make the most of their renewed partnership with Honda.
Right onto our first hot lap here in quali, down into turn 1, stick right close to the apex and then let the car run a little wider here and then nail the apex right away from turn 1, going right into turn 2 with a squirt on the power right before and take a wide exit here. That's where the traction is, at least for me here in this session. Anyways, back into standard mix and try to hug the apex here as close as possible. We miss it by just a little bit and we move on to the end of the back straight and we brake down very hard and again nail the apex as you get a decent exit out of here into rich mix, then shift down to third gear all the way. It should be fourth, but you don't want to run wide out of this corner to get a legit lap time. So first lap time there, 37 something. I was too quick there. Anyways, going on to our second hot lap. We're going into the second sector now after setting a purple first sector, hugging close to the apex here again and the racing line. Here we run a little bit wide, but that does mean that we can maintain a little higher speed through the corner. This was a very finicky corner for me, and then onto the back straight almost here, again clipping the apex, but we run a little bit too much off to the left there, cutting. Anyways, back to this sector, going for another shot at it. We are currently behind Hamilton in P2. Hopefully we can take this corner without cutting it this time, but still nailing the apex pretty nicely there. And then another one going onto the back straight. Get a good exit out of this corner because your speed is very important there. Here we go over the line into pole position on our final hot lap. And that's quali.
What a day for the team and Sebastian Vettel. He's put in the fastest lap of the session and he's on pole.
Well, he's got to be pleased with that. He's worked hard for it and deserves the result. He'll now turn his sights to tomorrow for what should be a very exciting race.
It's now time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. It's time for the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai. After yesterday's fantastic qualifying performance, Sebastian Vettel was extremely happy with how the car was performing. But will it be the same today?
When we spoke to him earlier, he felt that this was a great opportunity to go on and win, but he knows he still has plenty of work to do. Anything can happen in the race, so you have to keep your feet on the ground until you take the checkered flag.
Felipe Massa looks to have the edge over Valtteri Bottas this weekend. He'll be hoping to cement that by finishing ahead of his teammate in today's race.
Felipe has been looking quick this weekend, and if he can carry that into today's race, he could be on for a good result. As for Valtteri, he wasn't looking comfortable with his setup yesterday, and we'll hope it works better for him over the long stints today.
Right, lights, so we have the best spot on the grid. It is pole. We have 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go already here in China. We have a semi-decent start, I must say. Starting with this game is very hard. We have the 2 Mercs, one passing us, but we both passed them around the outside of turn 1, but Hamilton comes back at us. We're side by side now through the first corner, down into the second corner. We have the inside line here, so we should be able to maintain the position. A little oversteer out of the corner there, but the car is also very heavy. We still have Hamilton on our left. No, it's Rosberg now actually. We break down into turn 3. We have the inside line once again. We do get a little bit of gravel there, so we have to slow down through there, but we still go in P1 here through the second sector now, as we have still Hamilton on our back, and it's promising to be an exciting race here. At the end of the main straight, still on lap 1, we have 2 Mercs on our backs here. We go into this hairpin, run a little bit wide to get a good exit on the corner, but Rosberg here has a better one. We break down, take the inside line here, we clip the bollard there that gets stuck on the front wing for a while, and somehow Rosberg went wide there, I believe, but I sadly don't have a replay of it. I'll try to implement those soon. I thought I'd start back with commentating my races for my videos again. I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you enjoy commentary instead of just racing without commentary. Anyways, we skip to the start of the race now, or we do a replay of the start actually. There we go, side by side with the 2 Mercs into turn 1, around the outside of Hamilton there. He's still ahead of us, but we can cut back on him into turn 2. There we go, we get nice traction and we can cut him off there because you have the inside line. Nice launch, but Rosberg is now side by side with us. So we go into turn 3 now, I believe again. We get a nice inside line there, and Rosberg behind us. But here on the end of lap 2, at the end of the straight now, we have Raikkonen beside us, and he touched us there. He's still on the outside. He has suddenly emerged behind us with a lot of pace, so we have a lot of trouble with defending against him there. So here into high fuel mixture, Raikkonen still doesn't have the DRS, but he will get that on this lap obviously. We go a little bit wide here, so he cuts back on the inside. We have another little bit of contact there, and I decide to let him pass, and then I touch him again because he brake checks me. He's probably mad from the contact, and then he pulls away like a rocket. So yeah, now we're behind our teammate at the moment, which of course isn't good, because Vettel is usually quicker than the Iceman. So far so good, and as you could hear, the engineer is forecasting nice weather. So now we skip ahead to the end of lap 5, and we have Rosberg on our side. We have turn 1 now, inside line. Still Rosberg is there, but we do squeeze a little throttle in there in between the braking down. So now we have the outside line for turn 2, which is better traction for me, so I get a better launch out of it, and I don't have to, let's say, defend my position as hard. And then I take the inside line for turn 3 here. I knew that Rosberg was still sort of side by side with me, but not really. But he was on the outside, as you can see by the indicator arrow. So now we go into this sector where overtaking is pretty much impossible unless the other guy makes a huge mistake. So hopefully we won't, and we do get a little bit squiggly there in the middle, but we ride the curve there. Rosberg's still on our back, so we had a bad sector there. Usually I pull away from the AI there, but we did lose a lot of time, as you can see, 3/10 there on the last lap. And then we get a huge tank slapper out of this corner as well, onto the main straight once again, into 8th gear. We have good straight line speed, but Rosberg has better one, and then he has DRS. We defend the inside line, he's on the outside again. We brake hard into this hairpin, but we have the inside line, so we can still maintain the position. We do need to get a good launch out of the next corner, or else we will be pretty much screwed on the straight here. which we do get, but Rosberg also gets a very good one. We stay into standard fuel for some reason, no reason why, I don't know, but we are still ahead going into turn 1 once again, and Rosberg is on the inside there, side by side once again. We defend, and then the inside line, yeah, rinse and repeat. So defending into turn 1 and 2 is the main attraction today, it seems, but yeah, for now we maintain P2, and we are also sort of gaining on Raikkonen, because he's not pulling away anymore, which is good. So even though we're battling with Rosberg, he's still not pulling away. Still 4-second gap to Raikkonen now. Lap 6 going onto the straight once again. Rosberg behind us. He is very close this time, so he should pose a big threat, but he touches us. I don't know why, and he goes off, and obviously it's not my fault, so the game doesn't even give me a warning. Usually it does, even if it's not your fault, but this time it doesn't even give me a warning. And even if it gives me a warning, it's not really my fault if a car touches my back, because I was giving space. Lap 7 into the pits now, because tires are feeling a little bit old. Raikkonen kept on going, and we decide to pit and hopefully pose a threat by the undercut here, because the next stint is going to be on another set of options, and those should heat up pretty quickly in comparison to the primes, because those are just ass on the first lap. Can't undercut with those really, unless the other guy has really worn out tires. We get stuck in second gear once again on the exit of the pit, so it's always a very bothersome. This pit exit luckily isn't too long, but it does lose you a lot of time there, so I was annoyed. Now we move on to lap 9, the back straight. We are right behind Ericsson going into rich mixture. You can see the pit indicator at the bottom of my speedometer is red. That means Kimi is in the pits. It's always good to know when your teammate is in the pits if you intend to undercut him, or try to undercut him at least. But for now it doesn't seem like I'm going to, because he's already on his way to the exit. I'm going through the last corner, cutting it like Jehovah as well, which isn't nice for me. We do post the fastest lap, obviously, but there on turn 1 you can see it's Raikkonen already coming out of the pit, but he's very slow there. Very slow, and I don't know what he's doing here, but we do give position back, but then he goes slow again, and we decide to go bye-bye Raikkonen, because we're not waiting for that. So I don't know what his problem is. Maybe he went on the primes, I'm not sure. I couldn't, no, he went on the options, but obviously they didn't warm up yet. But now at the end of lap 16 we're still ahead of Raikkonen, because somehow his pace he lost his pace at the end of the first stint, even though he went on the same set of tires. So now we go into the pits for our last pit stop now, because nothing happened on that second stint really after overtaking Raikkonen there. So on to the last set of tires. Hopefully we can get out of the pits without our gearbox getting stuck in second gear once again. You can see a little indicator behind us, meaning that there's another car in the pits. It looks like to be Hamilton pitting on the same lap. So yeah, it must be stealing my strategy, but that's okay. So right now we're struggling for grip, as you can see, because the prime tires are stone cold, and yeah, we lack the grip. So Alright, so we asked our engineer for a little race update there. I know that the PC doesn't have the voice communication yet, but you can manually select it. It is a little bit flimsy, so I can generally only do it on a long straight, because I have to hold one button down while using the directional pad to select the command you want, and then pressing the right arrow key, let's say, on the directional pad to let's say speak to your engineer the commando that you want to give him. But now lap 18, Raikkonen behind us with a gap there. Can't see it because we're already moving on to lap 28. Because we maintained our pace to Raikkonen pretty much. We're 10 seconds ahead of Hamilton now, because Raikkonen kind of lost his mojo during the race, I guess. Maybe he has an ERS problem, I don't know. Hamilton overtook him, so he's in P2, 10 seconds behind us. And then Raikkonen is a little bit behind him. They were battling for a while during the prime stint. I saw it on the mini-map while I was driving my laps. But sadly at that point Raikkonen couldn't overtake. Right now you can see he's 4/10 behind Hamilton, so he could technically make it overtake him. So my engineer warns me about cold brakes, but on the right side you can clearly see that the temperature of those brakes aren't cold at all. But we make it through the last hairpin. Engine is running a little bit hot now, but Raikkonen overtakes Hamilton. No, they switch positions. Now Raikkonen is ahead. We go over the line in P1 there, and that's another race win. And it turns out that Hamilton did overtake Raikkonen in the end, but we didn't see that sadly. But yeah, a Ferrari 1-3, not bad. Mercedes, P2 there, Hamilton, of course. And we take the victory here in China. Pretty pleased with the results, but I was at this point already thinking to myself, maybe I should have taken a little bit slower car, because even with the Mercs extra engine power, they had trouble keeping up with me on the straight. And I got a penalty in the end, I don't know for what, I forgot. 3 seconds, nice penalty. So 7-second gap to Hamilton, we win from our 10-second initial gap. So yeah, sorry for talking through the Crofty there, but you talk about Hamilton all the time, so it's nothing new for you to speak of. And we get a nice 2 little rewards from Steam there, Grand Prix winner, something I believe, and we are ahead in the Driver Championship, and Scuderia Ferrari is also ahead in Constructors Championship. There we have the top class guys. Well, thanks for watching guys, and see you next time. Peace!